The $200 you save today is already scheduled to pay for your own funeral 60 years from now. The machine is already running. You just haven't seen the ledger yet. The bank account has $4,218. You have 21 days. You are 23, and every single person above you in this system was once exactly where you were standing. This is how they moved. The manifest is wrong on line 47. You know this because you have checked it 3 times in the last 20 minutes, and each time the discrepancy is $1,840. A vendor billing the same refrigerated shipment twice against your department's net 30 account. You are 23, pulling $48,500 a year, and your student loan servicer ended your grace period 11 days ago. The payment is $712 a month. You have done the math. 30.5 hours of labor, recurring, until a number you cannot currently imagine reaches zero. The HVAC kicks on. The polyester collar drags against your neck. Your mother called Sunday. A crown. $1,400 out of pocket. Uninsured. You Googled it while she was still talking. She is not insured. You are her only insurance policy, which means you are carrying an unfunded liability with no hedge and no timeline. The small vendor will never notice the error. Your department's quarterly budget closes in 9 days. The error benefits your number. You approve the manifest. Here is what no one tells you at $48,500. The first financial decision that defines you is never the one that looks like a financial decision. It looks like a Tuesday. It looks like line 47. Every dollar you do not control today becomes a clause in a contract governing the next 30 years. The first move is simple. Automate $200 out of your checking account the same day your paycheck lands. Not after rent, not after groceries. First, before you can see it, before it becomes something else. You won't feel it. That's the point. It's 11:45 p.m. The Bloomberg terminal casts blue light across the brushed aluminum lid of your laptop. You are 26. $12,400 stripped from your lifestyle this year. The gym, the dinners, the weekend that never happened, routed into a 3-fund index portfolio. Total market, international, bonds at a ratio you read about in a forum at 2 a.m. and have not deviated from since. The automation runs the moment your direct deposit clears. You do not touch it. Touching it is how it stops working. The wash sale rule forced a restructuring twice this quarter. You sold a position at a loss, bought back too soon, lost the tax deduction. You adjusted the cost basis, waited 31 days, moved forward. This is not exciting. This is the work. Your partner shows you a photo, a friend's house, clean countertops, a backyard. You look at it and see a 30-year contract at 8% on a $480,000 principal, $620,000 in total interest at term. You say this out loud. She doesn't laugh. The Charity Drive email sits open in another tab. You close it. You tell yourself compounding doesn't work if you interrupt it. You have told yourself this 3 times this year. You count it afterward, not before. You are not saving money. You are purchasing the future labor of people you will never meet. You use the word resilience 4 times this week. The positions hold. 3 years later, you're in a different room, and the $12,400 has become $31,000 without you touching it. That is not motivation. That is mechanics. The steak arrives, and neither of you looks at it. You are 29. $112,000 in liquid capital. 1 gray hair you left in place on purpose, or told yourself that. The man across from you has not used your name once. You filed it at the introduction and kept moving. You are here because his fund anchored the last 2 tranches and the syndicate lead told you, not asked, that $25,000 was the floor to enter the private placement. To be in this room, you needed to cross the accredited investor threshold, $200,000 in annual income, or $1 million net worth excluding your primary residence. You crossed it 8 months ago. You did not celebrate. You updated the spreadsheet. The room smells like saddle leather and industrial solvent and the silence of men who never raise their voices because they never have to. You walked in knowing the underlying medical debt, purchased at 4 cents on the dollar from a regional hospital system, now staged for aggressive collection. The K-1 arrives in February. You signed the subscription agreement on page 9, initialed the risk disclosure on page 11, handed it back without a pause long enough to be noticed. Risk is not the possibility of loss. It is the price of admission to a tier where the rules are written in pencil. Your phone buzzes. 3rd anniversary dinner. You silence it. You calculate the actuarial cost of the conversation waiting at home. The numbers are not sentimental, and return to the man who does not know your name. When you are wrong at this level, it is someone else's 10 years. The wire clears. The scale shifts. The HVAC hums at a frequency you stopped hearing 6 months ago. The city below looks like a circuit board at 6 a.m. You have $2.4 million in net worth and feel more exposed than you did at $4,000. Because now you understand exactly what can unwind it. 3 sub-managers on the screen. The first is trailing his residential tranche by 210 basis points. You will replace him at the next rebalance, not out of anger, out of arithmetic. The second has a 1031 exchange pending on a light industrial position that defers $180,000 in capital gains taxes if the timeline holds. The third flagged a step-up basis opportunity inside a trust structure. Assets held until death reset their cost basis to fair market value, eliminating decades of embedded gains. Your estate attorney confirmed it at 11 p.m. That is what you pay him for. Your monthly burn is $18,500. You have categorized it as a fixed operating expense. The zip code is not a luxury. It is a calculation. The school district your partner identified feeds into a network that compounds social capital the same way index funds compound money. You wrote the check. The restructuring memo is 12 pages. For 100 rolls, flagged redundant against a dividend yield the board has already promised. You did not create the promise. You are managing the consequence. You approve it in 11 minutes because spending 12 would not change the outcome. And you have 3 other decisions before 9 a.m. At this level, you stop working for money and start directing the flow of energy that forces others to work for you. The conversation about all of it happens in a Whole Foods parking lot at 7 p.m. on a Thursday. She is not angry. She is precise. That is the version that stays with you. You are still playing a small game. You know this now. The jet is not yours. The terminal is. That distinction took 11 years to matter and approximately 4 seconds to explain. You are 41, $15 million under management. A lawyer on retainer at $1,200 an hour who has never once asked how you are, because that is not the engagement. The silk tie sits against your collar like something that was fitted for a different version of you. The family office took 4 months to structure across 3 jurisdictions, 2 holding entities, 1 residency change, for $150,000 removed from the tax liability column. Your estate attorney called it elegant. You called it Q3. Tranche seniority is written into the waterfall. Clawback provisions are buried in the LP agreement below the depth most managers read to. You read to the bottom. You placed yourself above the line. The currency move cleared at 4 a.m. A developing nation's central reserve, thin enough that your exit repriced the floor. The spreadsheet indicated the position. You executed it. You did not name what that meant for the people on the other side of the currency. The spreadsheet does not have a field for that. A legacy is not a memory. It is a legal entity designed to survive the death of its creator. Your eldest asked last week what you do. You said, I move capital to where it earns more than it costs. They nodded. You are not sure they understood. You are not sure you wanted them to. You are correct. You are also repeating, almost verbatim, what a man said to you 8 years ago across a restaurant table while a steak went cold. The structure is complete. The fireplace has never seen real wood. You stopped noticing years ago. You are 55. The trust generates $3.2 million in the time it takes you to eat lunch. You had a salad. You did not finish it. The balance does not appear on a screen anymore in a way that feels like a number. It feels like weather, like a pressure system that moves whether or not you are watching. The trust documents are 340 pages. The gold fountain pen is heavier than it should be. The weight distributed wrong. You initial. You turn the page. The mezzanine financing sits inside the third entity, subordinated correctly. The Opportunity Zone election is filed in a jurisdiction that exists, for tax purposes, in the negative space between 2 other jurisdictions. Your counsel confirms it holds. The lobbyist report arrived Thursday. The bill is dead. Millions of people will navigate a system that is now permanently harder than it needed to be, by a margin of approximately 2% of your net worth. You read the memo. You felt nothing where the fire should have been. Your spouse appears in the doorway. She asks when you will stop. You say soon. She was right. You were not wrong. Both are true simultaneously, and you have trained yourself not to pull that thread. You are no longer a person managing money. You are a fiduciary for a legal entity that will outlive you, executing the preferences of a version of yourself that stopped updating sometime around the 4th jurisdiction. The machine is running. The oxygen smells like nothing. That is the engineering. You are 78. The capital is $140 million. Your heart traces its line on the monitor to the left. The trust balance updates every 4 seconds on the tablet to the right. The trust does not require oxygen. The trust does not have a heart rate. $80,000 per day in end-of-life costs. drawn from a sub-account established for this specific purpose by a lawyer who retired 6 years ago. The perpetual existence clauses span 3 documents. The generation-skipping transfer tax has been structured around so completely that your grandchildren will receive capital that has never, technically, been held by a living hand. They are in the hallway. You can hear valuation. You can hear primary residence. You do not call out. You think about a $200 automated transfer. Tuesday, 53 years ago. Forgotten by Wednesday. That $200 is in the room right now, in the 4-line, in the machine breathing for you, in the building across the street with your name on it. You sign the endowment. The name on the building is the last move that keeps you in the world after the world stops keeping you. Money is a biological entity that eventually outgrows the host that cultivated it. The screen goes black. The coffee shop smells like burnt milk. The music is too loud for a Tuesday. She is 23. The phone shows $4,218. The ACH processed at 12:04 a.m. the way it always does, indifferent to the 21 days before the next one. She runs the number. Utilities. Her mother's dental estimate. $1,400. Flagged urgent. There is a billing error. $34. She found it this morning and has been calculating whether the time to dispute it is worth $34. This is not a metaphor. This is capital allocation at the entry level. The compounding interest on her carried balance moves in one direction. It has always moved in one direction. She did not design the system. She was handed an account at 18 and told it was a tool, which it is. The question is who is holding it. The gears do not need your permission to turn. They only need your participation. She opens a second tab. She is thinking about the $200. She has read something somewhere about automating it out before she can spend it. She is deciding if she can afford to. She checks her phone during the second thought. The cycle resets. The bank account has $4,218. She does not know the man who built the machine died in a medical suite while his grandchildren argued over square footage. She does not know that a $200 transfer made on a Tuesday before she was born compounded through 17 ownership structures and arrived 53 years later in the price of the coffee she is about to put on a card charging her 24.99% APR. She does not know she is a component. But here is what the machine cannot account for. She is still deciding. The $200 transfer hasn't happened yet. The automation isn't set. The position is open. Every person in this video was standing exactly where she is standing. The ones who moved first on the small number. Not the $15 million. Not the family office. The $200 on a Tuesday that felt like nothing. The system does not care that she is thinking about the rent. It never did. The machine is running. It does not need you to believe in it, but it cannot stop you from learning how it works. Which level are you at right now? And more importantly, do you want to stay there?